Hello and welcome to this demo of Dell EMC Isilon integration with Kubernetes CSI. What we're going to show during this demo is how to install the new Kubernetes Container Storage Interface plugin for Dell EMC Isilon and how to use some of its features. The first thing we need to do is, of course, to go to GitHub and actually download the Isilon plugin itself. You can, of course, do it from using your own GitHub desktop client or just go and pull up the plugin directly from within GitHub, which is what we're doing here. And so we just got the plugin itself installed and ready. This next thing we're going to do is actually go ahead and install it. So it's super easy to install. You can see that you've got your YAML file that you can configure for various options. And the other thing you probably want to do is enable some feature gates such as snapshots, which is still in beta state as of the recording of this demo, which you probably want to enable in any case because many customers are using the CSI snapshots today, even though they are in a beta state as I mentioned before. So you can see that we've got our feature gate for snapshots actually enabled. And if you go to the controller manager, we can indeed run a command to see that this feature gate has been indeed enabled within the plugin itself. So the next thing we're going to do is actually go ahead and create a namespace. So here we can see we use the Elm to install everything, and the next bit we're going to do is to actually configure the admin privilege. The credentials to access the Isilon are stored in the Kubernetes secret. In this example, we use the admin account, but it's possible to configure an account with lesser rights if that's what you wish. The exhaustive list of privileges is available from the product guide itself. We can now go ahead and actually configure the driver setting with IP, prefix for the volumes, things like quotas, access zones, etc., etc. It's important to note that the Isilon IC path destination exists before actually creating the volume itself. And a successful installation will have one controller pod with 4 containers running and one Isilon node pod per cluster node using the driver with 2 running containers, which is basically what you see here. So you see that I've got my containers up and running here. And that's pretty much it. The plugin itself comes with a couple of examples. In this example, we're going to create a pod with 2 persistent volumes, which is what we're just going to do here. You can see the size of the volume, etc. We can see that they are mounted and accessible from the worker node and the container node, and that indeed the data itself is visible in the Isilon UI, which is what you see currently. So you go to the File System Explorer, and here you can see the actual volume or file system that we just created. Pretty easy to note from both the CLI and the Isilon GUI. We can of course browse to the file system that we just created, create a file, and of course if we then go to the actual file system, we'll see the created file itself there, etc., etc. So every file that we created will of course be visible in the Isilon UI itself. The last part is to actually run Isilon snapshots and use them for Kubernetes. And you can use them for multiple purposes, such as backup and restore on the Isilon frame array itself in case you've got the deleted volumes, or to use a restore snapshot volume and repurpose it just as any other writable volume for another pod that may still be up and running in the array itself. The Isilon plugin itself supports Kubernetes volume snapshot through the Isilon snapshot capability as we mentioned before. The snapshot can be restored just like a normal volume and exposed to a pod, which is what we see here. And it's a super easy solution that we can use as long as we don't care about the fact that the snapshot reside on the Isilon storage itself. Remember, we believe that snapshot should be part of your backup strategy, but not your backup strategy, which means that eventually you want to offload long-term retention snapshots to another product or another product that will actually suit the backup framework, such as Data Domain with Power Protect, etc., etc. So here you can see those snapshots that we created locally, and the fact that we can indeed mount them as writable snapshots to the array itself and actually use them, right? So now we're actually going to do a test restore snapshots So we're just going to restore the snap itself, and indeed we can see that the file that we've asked to restore, because it was deleted itself, will indeed be visible in Isilon because we just restored that file system, that volume, from Kubernetes itself using the snapshot restored mechanism. Again, just remember that snapshots is still a beta feature from Kubernetes in the CSI, but we do support it. Right, so now you can go ahead and delete the snapshot itself, and if you go back to the Isilon snapshot UI, we will see that the snapshot was, of course, being deleted from the Isilon array. So thank you very much, and I hope you find this video useful.